Okay, so prayer versus meditation. Are you one of these people out here who's always assumed that these two words actually mean the same thing? Well, in this video today, we're going to actually talk about these two words, and you're going to see just how different they really are. Let's go. Now, before we begin, remember, the following video requires you to use your brain. So sit back, relax, and engage. So before we start this video, let me just be upfront with you and just completely straight up. This is going to be one of those videos that's going to really challenge many of you. So above just having your seatbelts buckled, I'm going to need you to, from time to time, anytime if you hear me say something that's kind of like rocking your boat a little bit, pause the video and I want you to look up what I'm saying for yourself, okay? Yeah, I'm actually encouraging you to do that. I don't want you just to come here, sit down, listen to what I'm saying, and just take my word 100% for it. Don't do that, okay? I want you to go and you take some time, just like I did, and double check what I'm saying. See if I'm saying is right or not, okay? But what I don't want you to do is to jump in the comment section and just react on your emotions. So I'm just letting you know, you're being warned that this video is definitely going to be one of those that's going to really challenge you. So in short, prayer is a way of communicating, or I should say spiritually communicating to who or what you perceive to be a higher power. That's pretty much it. And here are some key aspects to prayer: adoration and praise, acknowledging God's greatness and giving him honor for that. Thanksgiving is simply expressing gratitude for things that you have received. Confession is admitting that you are wrong and asking for forgiveness. Supplication and petition, asking for personal needs or asking on the behalf of somebody else. And then you have intercession, which is basically praying for other people. So regardless of the religion that you're in, you're going to see some or all of these aspects in prayer. If that religion engages in prayer, which most religions do, you're going to see some aspects of this within prayer. Now let's talk meditation. Meditation is just a way of focusing your mind, and the purpose is to achieve some type of clarity or to put yourself in a place of peace. And here are some aspects of meditation: mindfulness, concentration, reflection, relaxation, and spiritual connection. And so once again, these are aspects that you'll see wherever meditation is encouraged, or if it's part of a particular practice, you're going to always see some or all of these aspects within meditation. Now, as someone who has come out of Christianity, I can definitely tell you that for most Christians, when they do hear the word meditation, the first thing that comes to their mind is this: is someone sitting in a lotus position and saying Om and doing that kind of thing. But the reality is that the Bible makes many references to meditation. Now, in a much broader sense, meditation is something that's practiced throughout most of the world. And for some of those, quite a few of those people, actually, they do incorporate the whole lotus position thing. That's just their way of doing it. And it's a way for them to achieve a place of calm and to achieve focus for them. Now, before we continue, again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to do to get to that place. We're just defining what meditation actually is. Now, we all at some point will take the time to reflect on some wise words that, someone that we perceive to be much smarter than us in a certain situation. We usually take the time to kind of reflect on those things and we meditate on it, okay? You think about things that they may have said and you're like, man, that was pretty good. I'm a think on that. That could be a parent, that can be a grandparent, that can be a friend, that can be someone that you on social media. The fact is that we take the time and we focus on the words that they said, or maybe the actions or decisions that they made, and we personalize it, we internalize it, and we make it our own. And what happens is both your brain and your body is aligning to match those actions or those words that they gave, so that you can replicate what they did. That's simply meditation. That's the impact of what meditation does to people. And this is something that's even scientifically proven. I mean, think about various children who grew up looking at Michael Jordan, for example. They focus on his actions. They focus on how he played. And many of those children grew up, or I should say some of them, they grew up playing like he played. And as a result, it took them up to a much higher level because why? They took the time to meditate, to think about how this guy plays on the court. And they wanted to replicate it. And the wonderful thing about meditation is that when you as an individual manifest that, you're manifesting it not exactly like the individual, but in your own personal way, because we're all different. We're all unique. So it's like you're adding your own special sauce to what you've been meditating on. And there are countless numbers of people who have suffered injuries or maybe have suffered some type of setbacks or whatever, and they turn to the power of meditation. And again, when I'm saying meditation, I mean, in other words, they had to see the light at the end of the tunnel. They didn't just focus on their current situation. They had to see, okay, listen, I'm not going to be here for long. I'm going higher. I'm going to get beyond this. And it's helped them. And like I said earlier, this is something that is scientifically proven. People manifest what they want to be in life, you know. So in other words, if you're not focused on a much higher place than where you are right now, you'll never achieve it. We say this all the time. In fact, many of you who do attend church, your preachers preach this all the time. This is meditation. Okay, so now this is the part that's going to create some turbulence for many of you. So I'm just pre-warning you right now. So I just want to make sure you're ready. Seatbelts fastened, right? You good? All right. And like I said again, make sure, don't just listen to what I'm saying. I want you to take the time to pause this video and to go and look these things up on your own, okay? So let's go ahead. Now, as I said earlier, prayer is a way of spiritually communicating to who or what you perceive to be a higher power, right? This is definitely something you see within Christianity. Christians generally believe that there is one and only God, and that's it. I mean, that's one of the 10 commandments, right? Where it clearly says that you shall not have any other gods before me, period. You ain't supposed to have any, you ain't supposed to acknowledge any other God. You ain't supposed to worship any other God. There's only one God and one only. If you're going to do any praying, you make sure you pray to that only one and only God, right? Christianity is very clear on that because it's based on the Bible. That's what the Bible teaches. But let's go a little bit further. But as I begin personally to look in a little bit further into the historicity of the Bible, what I've come to realize is that there's not just one God that's mentioned in the Bible. In fact, there are other gods that are mentioned in the Bible that Christians actually acknowledge every day. Now, have you ever been curious about where the name Bible comes from? Well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play for you a clip of a short that I did some time ago. I want you to watch this and we'll be right back.
Welcome to a quick journey through history. Today we're uncovering the origins of the Bible's name. Now our story begins in the ancient city of Byblos, now in modern-day Lebanon. Byblos was a bustling trade hub famous for its export of papyrus, a writing material. The Greeks called this city Biblion, and the plural, Biblia, referred to the papyrus scrolls. This is where we get the word Bible, meaning the books. Byblos was also known for his worship of the god El, the chief deity in the Canaanite pantheon. El was considered the creator and the father of gods and humanity. From an ancient city's name to the sacred texts of Christianity and Judaism, the Bible's name has an interesting history intertwined with trade, culture, and spirituality.
That's right. So the town of Byblos, I hope I'm saying that right, was known to worship the Phoenician and Canaanite god of El, but not just El. They also worshiped the goddess Baal-Alat Gabal. And again, I hope I'm saying that right. She was known as the Lady of Byblos. She was also known as the protector of the city. So every time that you call out the name Bible, what you're also doing is acknowledging, or in an indirect way, venerating the god and goddess of the city of Byblos. Now, let's take a look at the city of Jerusalem. Now, what we're about to share, I'm telling you right now, is a lot of your preachers or pastors, they have never talked about this, but I assure you, it is all historically accurate. And as I said before, I'll continue to say it. Please take the time, pause the video, and verify exactly what I'm presenting to you today.
So went even further than this. And I said, let me verify what they're saying is true. And I did. And I was like, dang, okay, well, there it is. All right, so here we go. So Canaanite Phoenician Jerusalem, or it was also called Jerusalem, the city founded by Shalem, the Phoenician god of dusk. Did you hear that? The city found by Shalem, the Phoenician god of dusk. All right, so let's get into it. And they do a breakdown, so we're good. Let's go. The original inhabitants of Jerusalem were Phoenician Canaanites. Jerusalem was originally a village built on a hill. The name Jerusalem is first found on Egyptian statues going back to 2500 BC. Jerusalem, in fact, is a word of Canaanite derivation. The prefix uru, U-R-U, meaning founded by, and the suffix Salem or Shalem is Phoenician Canaanite god of dusk. This evidence is reinforced by archaeology and by tablets found in Elba, Syria, dating back to 3000 BC, on which the god Shalem being venerated in a city called, Uruk Shalem is mentioned. The old name of the city, Jerusalem, figures also in the Egyptian text called Text of Proscription of, that's 567, the 7th dynasty, and they say WS and an MM, pronounced in the Akkadian language, Jerusalem, city of God.
And what's more is that when we jump to the book of Revelation, we find that the God of the Bible hadn't changed the name of the city of Jerusalem. In other words, he's still keeping the name of Jerusalem and calling it the New Jerusalem. So the same Phoenician Canaanite God is continuously going to be venerated by simply the name itself, Jerusalem or Jerusalem. Now, finally, let's take a look at the name or the word Lord.
For thousands of years, every morning and evening, Jewish people have prayed these well-known words as a way of expressing their devotion to God. They're called the Shema. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. And as for you, you shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and with all of your strength. We're going to look at the second key word here, Lord, written in all capital letters. This is the personal name of Israel's God. We first learn the meaning of this name in the story of Moses and the burning bush in the book of Exodus chapter 3. God appears to Moses and he commissions him to liberate the Israelites from slavery. And so Moses wonders, what if people ask the name of the God who has sent me? And so God responds, tell them, Ehyeh has sent me to you. Now, that Hebrew word Ehyeh means I will be. In other words, God's name means that he is the one who is and who will be. God's existence doesn't depend on anyone or anything else. This God simply is. But it will sound kind of strange for Moses to go say to the Israelites, I will be has sent me to you. Only God can say, I will be. So in the next sentence, God tells Moses the version he should say aloud. Yahweh, the God of our ancestors, he has sent me to you. Now, that word Yahweh is the ancient Hebrew form of the verb he will be. And this is the personal name of the God of Israel. It appears over 6,500 times in the Old Testament. Now, here's what's interesting. Over the centuries, Israelites wanted to honor the sacred nature of this divine name. So, as they read the Hebrew Bible aloud and they came to this name, they stopped saying Yahweh and instead started saying the Hebrew word for Lord, which is Adonai. Now, this practice has been continued throughout the centuries, and so later, when people started translating the Bible into English, they adopted the same practice. Instead of spelling out the divine name, they translated it as Lord, spelled in all capital letters. Okay, you got that? Good, because there's more. Ancient Jewish scribes wanted to prevent anyone from even accidentally saying this name aloud when you read the Hebrew Bible. And so they came up with a visual device to remind you to make sure you say Adonai. They took the 4 consonant letters of the divine name. These letters correspond to our English letters YHWH. Then they inserted the 3 vowels from the word Adonai and combined these together to create an artificial hybrid word, which if you pronounced it, it would say Yahuwah, but no Israelite ever said Yahuwah. It's simply a visual reminder to say the word Adonai. Now, it gets more interesting. Much later, Christian scribes came along who didn't know that Yahuwah was an artificial word, and so they began to say it aloud and spell it in their writings. This is the word that eventually entered into English as Jehovah. It's a word many people still use today. But the main thing is, the word Lord in all capital letters is an indication of the divine name. Don't confuse it with the word Lord in your English translations that's not in all capital letters. That is the actual Hebrew word Adon, which just means Lord or master. This word can refer to people like kings or the master of a servant, even a shepherd over his sheep. And sometimes biblical authors will use this word to refer to God, like in the phrases, the Lord of all the earth, or the Lord of lords. But behind all of these words, Jehovah, Lord, Adonai, stands the original divine name of the God of Israel. It refers to the one who was, who is, and who forever will be.
Now, the God Yahweh is very much a part of the Canaanite pantheon, as you can see here on the screen. You'll also notice that the supreme God, the one that's above all of them, is El, and his wife is Asherah. And as you can see, this is a pretty big family, and you can see that you have Yahweh as one of the children, and you will also see someone else who's one of the children, Baal or Baal, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Now, again, before you jump into the comments and want to say that all of this is wrong and you want to load your comments down with a whole bunch of scriptures and all of that, what I would encourage you to do is take a look at our series, the Who and the L series. It's a video series, but we also have a podcast as well, where we actually take the time and we go through all of these details. We're not just simply saying stuff just to be saying stuff. We're actually showing you archaeological studies, papers, books, documentaries, where they actually have proof, where they've actually discovered this and have confirmed everything that I'm saying. And so, by the way, before we continue, so when I say Yahweh, I'm not just saying the word Yahweh, but it's every other spelling of Yahweh. One of the more popular ones is Yah. Okay, now, so deep breath. Practicing our meditation. Now, I know what I've given to you so far. It's a lot. I know. It's a lot for me. It was a lot for me to take in, but it's going to take some time. If you're very serious, if you want to get to the truth, it's going to take some time, and you're going to have to allow yourself to kind of get through it. So what I would encourage you to do, one of the places you come is right here on this platform here. We have tons of videos on this topic. And like I just said earlier, we do take our time to meticulously to go through all of these things. Like I said, we're looking at artifacts. We're looking at people who've actually done diggings and all of this stuff. I mean, hieroglyphics, you know, just the whole nine. We have a research group. It's on if you go to the front of our YouTube page, you'll see a link for it. If you're interested, click on it, and we got a lot of information. I mean, we got you'll get access to over, I would say close to over 200 books that you can use at your own disposal, free of charge, where we actually take the time to go through all of this. And like I said, none of us are experts. None of us know everything. But, you know, it's just a small group of people, but growing group of people who want to dig into this thing a little bit further, and you are more than welcome to join us. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to do this video is because I wanted viewers to really be honest with yourself and really begin to take a self-test on the effectiveness of prayer, how effective prayer has been in your life versus meditation. And like I said, meditation is a process or a way where you are actually focusing on yourself. You're focusing on how to become a better version of yourself. And so the reason why I wanted to do this video is I wanted people to begin to start honestly analyzing and assessing the effectiveness of prayer in your life versus meditation. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. So there are people who will say, listen, prayer kept this family together. All right. Now, let's think about this for a second. Was it prayer that kept your family together, or was it a shared interest that you felt deeply about? Because, for example, you have all kinds of clubs. Like, for example, let's just say a hiking club where people will come together, be it a small group or a large group or whatever. They come together for a shared interest, to achieve certain goals. They just go hiking. It's a way, it's therapeutic. It's a way for them to get out and do exercise and all of that. And you have hiking clubs that have been around for years. Now, was it prayer that kept them together, or was it a shared interest? Do you understand? Well, it's no different than, let's say, when someone says that, hey, prayer kept this family together. Prayer is what kept us together. Was it you praying to these gods or these deities or whoever it is that you're praying for? Or was it a shared interest or an agreement around a certain set of values? And that's what you see, around people who, let's say, that follow the Bible. As I've said on this platform many times before, the Bible is full of many great examples and great sayings and things that we should all embrace. There's nothing wrong with many of the things that you mentioned in the Bible. So if you've been following this series, you know that we have taken a very hard look and a very serious and try to take a very honest look at the effectiveness of prayer on things such as slavery. How effective was that? The pandemic. We've looked at that as well. And so some of the questions that we have been asking is, have we seen people rising from the dead? Have we seen, people from the pandemic getting healed just automatically, just right before our eyes? Have we seen our children who suffer from ADHD getting healed right before our eyes, as promised in the Bible? And so again, what I'm saying is we have to begin to start honestly asking these kind of questions. Because if you're not asking, I personally assure you that the children are. And we got to stop hiding behind these endless excuses where we take scriptures so far out of context to where even the person that's trying to explain, they themselves get lost in the explanation. I mean, we have reached a place where for many people, they take Amazon a lot more serious than they do the Bible. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Like, for example, if you see something on Amazon and you're like, this thing is, it says it does this, it says it does that, and it's giving you all these different benefits and it's telling you all these different great things that it does, right? So you order the product and you get the product, it comes in the mail, you open it up and you begin to start using the product, only to find out that it doesn't even do half of what they're promising. Now, what are you going to do as an individual if you get a product and you ordered it and they're telling you that it does all these things and it doesn't? What are you going to do? Well, like most consumers, they're going to either pack it up, send it back, and just say, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to order something else, and this thing doesn't work. And then you also have people who will say, hey, listen, what I'll do is I am going to I'm going to let them know. I'm going to let them know in the comment section that this thing does not work, and I'm going to advise other people not to get it at all. That is called holding them to their own standard. See, they set the standard. They said that if you get this product, this is what's going to happen, right? And so you as a consumer are rightfully holding them to a standard, the standard that they set. And so if they're not able to come through on that, you as a responsible consumer are going to say, you're going to call them out on that. But what you'll find oftentimes in religion, particularly Christianity, is that most people won't do that when it comes to the Bible. When the Bible, as we described in our past videos, when it says that all one has to do is to believe on him, and you will lay hands on the sick and they shall recover, or you're going to do greater works, when that doesn't come through, it doesn't even enter into our minds to say, well, wait a minute, this is what was promised, but it didn't happen. So who wrote this thing? What's really what this text is this text really saying? Did they just make this up? And so what ends up happening is people begin to look at themselves as, you messed up. You're the one that screwed up. That's why it didn't work. So I know that I've been talking a lot about Christianity simply because that's what I came out of. But it's not just Christianity. It's all of these religions that worship a particular deity or deities. It's the same thing. Like when we asked the other week about where was God during slavery, you had a lot of people who were part of that transatlantic slave trade and the Arab slave trade, coming out of Africa. They were calling and crying out to their gods and their goddesses, and they did not intervene. They didn't come and save these people from slave ships. They didn't come and save them off of those plantations. There was no intervention. And we can say the same thing about Christianity as well. Once they came over on those slave ships into the Americas and they were forced to worship, get into Christianity, they started crying out to the God of Christianity. And guess what? Slavery continued. See, one of the things that religion has taught all of us, and again, this is regardless of what religion you practice, is that it teaches us that if you want to improve yourself, if you want to move further in life, that all the answers that you need, you have to look externally. You have to go outward. You got to go beyond what's inside of you. So look no further than nature. This is an example that I use often here on this platform. Let's take a look at a seed. Seeds have everything they need, everything that they need in order to be everything that they have been put on this earth to do. You never seen a seed go to a convention on how to be a better seed. You never see a seed go into a classroom talking about trying to figure out how it can improve itself to be a better seed or anything like that, or going into some focus groups or anything like that. No, everything that the seed needs, it's already inside of it. Literally everything. You plant it, it's put in the right environment, is given water, is given what is needed, and the seed will grow into this beautiful tree or beautiful plant or whatever it is that it's supposed to do. Well, it's no different than us. When we start off as seeds. It's no different. So everything that we need as individuals to be what we have been put on this earth to do, it's already inside of you. You don't have to. So what religion teaches you is that it's not. That you, in order for you to be what you have been created to do, you got to seek after the system of religion. You got to seek after the pastor. You got to seek after some external people or system in order to be what you have been put on this earth to do. And this is exactly why we have so many problems that we have today. It's too many people looking externally for answers that are already inside of them. This is why religion, but not just religion, but even politics, makes a killing in trying to convince you that if you get the right person in office, if you go to the right church, that somehow your life is going to improve. But how many times are we going to have to learn this lesson over and over again, that no matter who's in office, no matter what church you go to, no matter how many times you pray and to a certain god or goddess or deity or whatever, it doesn't start there. It starts with you. That is not worshiping you. Some people may take it to there, but me personally, I don't. But it's simply about focusing on what is already put inside of you. And that, my friend, is what I'm trying to get at in this video. Our Creator has put so much inside of us and put so much inside of you, we just overlook it. Instead, what we're doing is we're getting all these self-help books and we're getting all this stuff, and all those things have its place, but it literally begins with just simply engaging in silence so that you can get into a place where you can start meditating on those positive things
that will make you a better version of yourself. So this video is not about hating on people who want to pray. If you want to pray to some god or goddess or whatever it is that's of interest to you, then do that. Nobody on this end is hating you for that. But I also want you to begin to see the power and effectiveness of meditation. Meditation is about focusing on you and what's already been put inside of you. There's nothing scary about that. There's too many things and too many people out there that want to scare you of you to make you the ghost story. But no, it's not about that at all. It's about simply acknowledging what your wonderful creator has already put inside of you. And that's the whole point of this video. I hope you got something out of this. Like I said, please take some time, meditate on what's been said here. And I would love to hear any and all of your comments on it. But just like I said, make sure you take the time, look this stuff up, verify what's been said here. And whether if you agree or not, it's okay. But at least the information is here. If you got any questions, you know we're right here for you. All right. So again, thank you so much for tuning into this video. You guys take care, and we'll be talking again soon.